On any day of the week, thousands of shoppers visit the Natomas Marketplace. They visit the Home Depot, Walmart, and a host of other merchants in the hopes of finding what they are looking for. On one day of the week, though, they can find something different in this busy shopping center: church. For several years now, the Regal Cinema has been the worship home for a church family known as The Gathering. Every Sunday, they convert several theaters in the Regal Cinema to their place of worship, and somehow people meet God there. It all started when God called one pastor and his family to move to Natomas to start a new church. Ron and Deb Vanderwell and their 3 young sons left Kalamazoo, Michigan, to lay the groundwork for this future church family.
We used to joke that in the very beginning, everybody in the church directory had the same last name. That's because it was all Vanderwell. It was just Devin, myself, and our 3 boys. It's definitely a challenging way to start a church. But even through that, we could see God at work, bringing changes in the lives of people who would become our first partners.
The community was definitely ready for new churches. During the past 5 years, the population of Natomas has nearly doubled, with almost 70,000 people now settling into a community that measures only about 5 miles by 5 miles.
We figure our community, which isn't that big, you can drive across it in a few minutes, has seen an average of 3 moving vans a day, 7 days a week, for half a decade. That's a lot of people in transition.
And from those early efforts, God has been growing a unique community of believers, a place to call home for a growing number of people, many of whom had distanced themselves from organized religion. People who couldn't see themselves in church are now finding in this theater their church home.
Our purpose is to grow a community where we can bring others with us as we're all transformed by God. That's our purpose statement, and it's happening.
I'm sitting in the back row, and then, I don't know, it was the prodigal son, I guess, his sermon on the prodigal son, and I found myself just weeping, just out of control, which I'm about to do now.
And not too long ago, I started to really feel, you know what, I'm really missing something.
Putting it into that perspective, you know, to me that was kind of an ultimate sacrifice, that somebody who didn't even know me thousands of years ago actually, you know, died for everything that I'm doing wrong today, and, you know, still accepting me and loving me.
Kind of like you were talking about with the rototiller, sometimes breaking apart all the stuff that generally gets in your way. In the past, a little over 2 years, I had pretty much my life turned upside down in a very slow but dramatic process.
So as I sat back there, just tears streaming down the side of my face, I was like, whoa, something's wrong here. I got to go.
I mean, there was just no question. It was so powerful and so overwhelming. I mean, initially it was just, I'm crying, I'm shaking, I don't know what's going on, and we did communion, I could barely even hold the bread, and I went home and I had plans that night, I canceled my plans, I said, I just need to sit here and feel this. This is incredible.
Recently I got a job, I start tomorrow morning, my first job ever. And so it's just it took beating me down and breaking me before I could really experience that joy. And I told Ron this, and my wife has seen this, is that I really do have a sense of joy.
God really is who He is, and He is something that I really want to have that relationship again.
Completely overwhelming. It was very powerful, and it was life-changing. After that moment, there will be no going back. You can't go back. You can't feel God. You cannot feel God reach into you and let you know very powerfully that He's there, and ignore that and walk away from that.
When I came, from the moment that I walked in the doors, I felt peace, and it was like God saying, welcome back. I've missed you.
And so I guess I'm being welcomed back into the family of God. And as an indication of that, I've never, as you might notice, I've never worn a name tag for this church because I didn't want to be known. And today that changes for me.
What does it take for a church like this to develop?
When you're starting a non-nucleus church like this, leadership development is probably your #1 priority. You can't do it all, although for a little while you kind of have to. But you can't do it all, and if the church is to thrive, you need to be able to raise up other people who can help pursue this mission with you.
And that's exactly what's been happening. The ministry now has 2 part-time staff. During the past year, a sweeping vision initiative has resulted in all ministry now happening in several major ministry teams. In addition, the church has run 2 different leadership discovery workshops where emerging leaders are led through an in-depth analysis of their spiritual gifts and temperament, all in a retreat setting. In the early stages, denominational and regional funding provide temporary resources to help the church get off the ground. As the congregation forms, it becomes important to help members discover the joy of biblical stewardship.
It's a huge thing for most people to respond to God's call to financial stewardship. While most people don't mind putting a little something in the basket, it's often a long process for them to begin to grasp what God really says in the Bible and to encourage them to take their first baby steps financially.
While all this is happening, the young church still needs financial resources to carry out its work. That's where a supporting network of ministry partners becomes so important. Outside individual and congregational partners can help with the ongoing ministry expenses, as well as provide development funds for new ministry steps.
It's very much a team thing. We need to do this together.
God is clearly at work in the gathering. People are being changed by Him and are finding their place in the work that God is doing here.
And that's why your investment in this ministry has been so important. This ministry would not happen without the help of partners like you. We'd like to continue to develop our relationship with partners such as yourself. In just a moment, you'll see a menu on your screen offering you different opportunities to learn more about what God has been doing at the gathering. Please feel free to take some time to see more of what exactly God has been up to and what kinds of things are in progress here at the gathering. I'd like to invite you to become part of the support network that we are forming here at the gathering. This is a network of a lot of friends of our ministry, including yourself, who care deeply about our ministry, who've had a connection with us, and who want to maintain that communication. Each quarter, every 3 months, I will be writing a personal letter to each member of this network, and I'll fill you in on things going on at the gathering, what God has been doing, what our opportunities are coming up, and how you might become involved in that each step of the way. Included with this DVD was a response card giving you an opportunity to indicate what kind of relationship you might like to have with the gathering as part of the support network. Perhaps you'd like to be involved in the gathering with a monthly gift, or perhaps with a one-time gift. Perhaps you'd like to be involved in the future, but not right now. The card gives you an opportunity to indicate that as well. In the meantime, thank you for your involvement in our ministry and for taking the time to share this experience with us here. Thank you.